Today I am showing you how to make this little retro sparkling star animation within After Effects. I'm going to cover 4 steps in this tutorial, so jump around where you need, but if you stick around to the end I'll also include some time-saving techniques to speed up your workflow and animations. Let's jump in. I'm going to add my star shape first. So to do this I'm going to come up to the top here, hold down on this shape tool, and I'm just going to grab the star tool, and then just on my composition I'm just going to draw out a star. I'm going to rename this because I'm going to duplicate it in a little bit, and I'm just going to press A and adjust my anchor point. I'm just going to bring it into the center. I'm not worried about it being perfectly aligned or anything. Alright, so I'm going to come back here and drop into the Contents tab, into Polystar. Under Polystar Path, I'm going to change the number of points on my star to 4. And I can adjust the inner and outer radius. As you can see, the inner radius adjusts the inner points of the star, and the outer radius kind of adjusts the length of the star itself. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to come over to Effects and Presets, and I'm going to first type in Glow and drop this onto my layer. And I'll bring the threshold all the way up, bring the radius up to about midway, and I'll just adjust this intensity ever so slightly. Next I'm going to come back to Effects and Presets and type in Gaussian and drop this onto my layer. I'm not going to adjust this for now. First I'm going to come over to my star and press Ctrl D to duplicate. I'll just drag this underneath. So now we can adjust these two effects on both of our star layers and produce slightly different results. So on the second one I can maybe make this about 35. Maybe raise this up a little bit. This is just totally up to you. Another little tip for you is just go back into Effects and Presets and type in Blur and just play around with all the different blurs effects. You can get some really interesting results. Totally recommend that you try them out. Alright, so let's make this a little bit easier to move around our composition. I'm going to come up to Layer, New, Null Object, and I'm just going to press A and just once again just adjust my anchor point slightly. Again, I'm not too worried about that being perfect. Okay, so I am going to open up all of my layers and I'm going to pick whip these to my null object. So the opacity on my star 2 I'm going to bring up to the null opacity. Then I'm going to select star and I'm going to take the opacity from star, bring it up to my null object as well. Then I'm going to do the same for rotation, scale and position on both layers to the null object. So this just means if I want to move my star around, you can see it's actually invisible right now, it's just automatically dropped the opacity down. I can just pull this up. So if I want to move my star around or animate it, I can do all of this on my null object and not worry about having to go between these two layers. So that's looking pretty cute. I can just like rotate it like that, and I'm also just going to add a little animation in here, so I can just put this little stopwatch property on, drag this to 0, come out a little bit, drag it up to 100, back to 0 again, and I'm going to do the same on the scale, so I'll just go 0, 100, 0 again. If you want this to repeat on a loop, you can just hold down Alt on your stopwatch, type in loop out, just like so, click off, and I'm going to do the same on scale, just pasting it in there, and now there it is playing on a loop. And there you have it. If you enjoyed this After Effects tutorial, make sure to check out this video right here to see what else you can do within After Effects. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!